before we were solving from factored form. Now we're going to solve from standard form. Okay. Now, what you're going to see is in this video, let's call it level 1, that first number is going to equal 1. And so this is what I mean. This is called standard form for a quadratic equation, okay? And in this video, I'm only going to talk about when this number is 1. So when we just have x squared by itself with no number in front, right, that's an imaginary 1. In the next video, we'll talk about what to do when a is not 1. Okay, but this is standard form for a quadratic equation. So let's take a look. Here are some examples. X squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 0. Okay, I want to solve. I want to know what value of x is going to make this true. Now what you notice is we can't use our traditional methods of solving an equation because like I could subtract 9 from both sides, but how would I get x by itself? Here I have x, here I have x squared. Like what would I do? So what we do is we factor this. Okay, now we've already learned how to do this. We say, okay, there's a 1 in front here, so I know that means this. Okay, now look, I'm going to bring down equals 0, because when we've talked about factoring, we've just talked about this with no 0 there, right? So I'm just ignoring that for now and bringing it down. Now here I have, remember that the two numbers have to multiply to 9 and add to negative 6. So let's see. Two numbers that multiply to positive 9 and add to negative 6. Okay, well if they have to multiply to a positive and add to a negative, it's going to be negative and negative. Two numbers that multiply to 9 and add to 6, that's 3 and 3. Okay, so now notice, now this is just like the previous video. Now I have factored form. So either x minus 3 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. So I solve, I get x equals 3. I solve, I get x equals 3. Oh, wait a second. These were the same. So I got two of the same answer. So in this case, I don't have two answers. My answer is just x equals 3. Okay, what about this one? Okay, first I'm going to factor it. I'm going to bring down my equal 0. I know because this x is by itself, it's just going to be x and x. Now here I have a negative product. Remember, the only way to get a negative product is do a negative times a positive. So I'm going to need one negative and one positive. I need two numbers that multiply to 14. So multiply to 14 and add to negative 5. So what are my possibilities here? It can be 1 times 14 or 2 times 7. Okay, now I'm looking for two numbers that I can make one positive, one negative, and they're going to add to negative 5. So what I'm looking for here is two numbers that have a difference of 5. And that's right here, right? So I'm going to use 2 and 7. And I want them to add to negative 5. I want the result to be negative. So I need my larger number to be negative. Right? So these two numbers, let's double check. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. Negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5. Perfect. So now I have factored form. And I know, okay, well, if this times this equals 0, then either x minus 7 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. So I'm going to solve both equations. I get x equals 7 or x equals negative 2. So how do I write that? X equals the smaller value, comma, okay, leave a space, and the larger value. Okay, let's just do one more example real quick. Okay, but there's nothing really new in this last example. If you feel like you have it and you're ready to go, you're welcome to skip this last example. But if you'd like to see one more, then hang around. I'm going to factor this one. Okay, I have all positives here. And I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 50 and add to 15. Okay, now there's a lot of possibilities that multiply to 50 because I could do 1 times 50, 2 times 25. Let's see, maybe not a lot of possibilities. 5 times 10, right? And I'm looking for a pair that adds to 15, and that's right there. So those are my two. And so I know that this times this equals 0, so either x plus 5 must equal 0 or x plus 10 must equal 0. So I get my two answers. And I need my smaller one first. So remember, negative numbers is kind of reverse, right? So negative 10 is smaller, comma, space, negative 5. There we go.